Hello, beautiful people. Maria here from Branches. I am broadcasting from beautiful Sedona, Arizona, up here at Shine Sanctuary for the Soul, till 5, offering my limitless sessions. And I have a little bit of downtime in between clients. And I was getting a lot of guidance to just allow myself to really tap into the energies here in beautiful Sedona, which I love doing while I'm here. And just get a little channeled message for the collective. I have been being guided lately to connect with this Pleiadian part of my consciousness that was returned to me actually almost 2 years ago in a soul retrieval experience I had done for myself. And this Pleiadian part came back, and I've been working with it on and off. I know a lot of what I do with this aspect of my consciousness happens during my sleep time, my dream state. But lately, I'd say like over the last month or so, my channeling capabilities have shifted, evolved, whatever we want to call it. When I'm doing sessions for my clients, healings, readings, I always set very strong intention at the beginning to be a hollow bone, clear channel. So the messages that get delivered through me are not from my human perspective, but from higher states of consciousness, source energy, unconditional love. So that's how I've channeled thus far. I also channel through writing and through, artwork and stuff. But over the last month or so, while I've been in sessions, all of a sudden I have started noticing that I'm allowing different energies to actually merge into my body and speak with a different voice than like the Maria Gingras voice, which has been very interesting to experience. And over the last maybe week and a half, I've been getting even stronger guidance to start welcoming in this sort of channeling guide of mine, which I do feel is this Pleiadian aspect of my consciousness, my soul, that really wants to start speaking through me. And so I figured I would take advantage of the fact that I'm up here in the beautiful energy vortices of Sedona. And while I have a little bit of downtime in between clients, I figured, why not? Let's channel that beautiful part of myself and see what the Pleiadian collective has as far as messages for the human collective. So I tapped in real quick right before I hit record, and I was given 3 words that I will tap into much more in depth while I do this channeling. And the 3 words were indigenous, valor, and I'm already forgetting the second word, so look at that. They will probably bring me right back to it. So without further ado, let me go in. Let me connect with this Pleiadian part of myself who calls themselves Vespar, and see what the beautiful, loving collective of the Pleiadians have as far as messages for we, the human collective. Just to sort of narrate what's happening for me right now, I can just feel that my crown chakra is like opening wide up. I've already set my intention to connect with this aspect of myself, but I also open myself up to any other unconditional, loving energies from source, creator, divine, any of my compassionate guides that want to speak through me. I invite you all into this very sacred and safe space to deliver any messages that are relevant for the human collective at this now moment. Indigenous, dear ones, indigenous, inward, dig. They are saying that to expand, to grow, it all starts inside. When humans think of the word indigenous, we associate it with our ancestral people. We associate it with the beginning of the earth in linear space and time. Indigenous meaning returning to the roots. Again, look at the word, dear ones, indigenous, break it apart, IN. Inside we must go to dig, to find all of the truths, the answers, the wisdom that we continue to seek externally, but yet have a much deeper knowing inside of us. The second word that was forgotten by the human is sentience. Sentience, dear ones, what does sentience mean? Sentience means to feel energies. Feeling energies is what the human has come down here to do. The third word, valor. Valor means courage. It means being able to stare fear and perhaps battles in the face, to embrace what is going on collectively, also individually. All of those internal battles, all of the external battles, it is time, dear ones, to face them all with valor, courage. Indigenous, what does it mean to return to the roots, to the root cause of disease, root cause of destruction, despair, unhappiness? What is the root causes of all of these things, dear ones? It is our lack of sentience, our lack of feeling, our lack of connecting to self. When we cannot connect to self, dear ones, we cannot connect to the world around us, not in an empowering way. We are very disconnected from the body. Our spirit wanted to come down into a body to feel the human experience. Sentience, dear ones. Sentience means outside of logic, outside of the thinking mind, outside of judgment, criticism, blame, shame, guilt. Sentience literally just means to feel. What are you feeling, dear ones? Are you in tune to your energies? Are you in tune to your emotions? Are you in tune to the world around you? Or are you numbing out? Are you distracting like so many humans do without even realizing it? This is not to judge. This is merely observation from higher states of consciousness that literally study humans. They study us because we are very intricate, yet so simple. We are so simple, but we over complicate, we overindulge, we overanalyze everything. We miss out on the present moment because we are constantly overanalyzing. We are pulling ourselves out of presence, out of the now moment, because we do not allow ourselves to feel. To feel, dear ones, is the gift of the human experience. But yet we are always running from what we feel. We run from the good feelings. We run from the bad feelings. We run, we numb, we distract, we deny, we lie. How can we discern what we are here to learn, what we are here to experience, if we do not allow ourselves to feel? It is in the indigenous roots of all of our DNA, both physically and spiritually, to come here to feel. This is the only realm in which we get to do this. It is truly a gift, but yet we as humans cannot see that. We cannot see that feeling is our knowing. Our knowing comes from feeling. Our seeing comes from feeling. Feeling is the first way we can manifest and or decipher, discern energy. We are energy. Spirit is energy. This physical world is all made up of energy, but we cannot acknowledge this. We cannot make sense of this if we are not sentient. Sentient means to feel. What are you feeling in this now moment? What are you feeling? Ask your body, ask your mind, what are you feeling? Why are you feeling this way? Do not allow these feelings to control you. When you start to bring awareness to them, you actually start to set them free. You allow them to tell their story, to explain to the human what the human's body is still holding on to. Allow your feelings to guide you, but not to control you. When you start becoming aware of these feelings, you no longer are unconsciously controlled by them. Are you feeling fear? It is normal, dear ones, to feel fear in a realm, in a matrix, as you all refer to it, that is literally based on fear. So if you are not feeling fear, I ask you now to really, really dive deeper inward, deeper, deeper inward. Allow yourself to go into that darkness, into the unknown, into the hidden truths. Allow yourself to connect, because, dear ones, you are holding fear. You are holding fear if you are walking on this earth plane. There is no way that you are fearless. You cannot be fearless in a realm that is operating from fear. So it is time, dear ones, to again, trust in that deeper knowing, in that deeper feeling, knowing that you are safe to feel and see it all. This is where your valor comes in. You must be brave. You must be courageous if you want to break free from the things that you feel are still holding you back. So I feel like now the energy that I just merged with, I do feel like it has exited. But I still feel very, very connected to all of my guides right now. So I just want to see what else maybe they have to say about the 3 words that have come through, and or anything else that they feel is pertinent to share with the collective. I can literally right now feel them all kind of encapsulating me in this room. Literally just feels oddly like my entire body is full on body chills, but that's just how my nervous system reacts to working with these higher vibrational energies. But there's also this part of me that feels like this insane amount of warmth like surrounding me. My physical body's freezing right now, but I feel like I have this blanket of warmth that just like holding me in this space, because they are aware of my humanness and insecurity of channeling. So thank you, guides, for holding me and holding the space. So is there anything else that the energy of Sedona wants to share with the human collective right now in these times of transition? So it's like they're showing me like these volcanic kind of eruptions just like happening all over the earth plane. And I partially feel like it's metaphorical, but I also feel like it's something physical that's happening as well. I feel that because it's like they're showing me underground in the earth, but also on the surface of the earth plane. And I'm seeing again like these volcanic kind of eruptions. Some places it seems to be more intense, like the eruptions are they're already happening, like literally like the lava and the smoke and the fire is literally coming up and coming out and creating like explosions. And then there's other areas where it's just like bubbling under the surface. And I do feel like it's my heart is getting like heavy. And I'm being shown a lot of different things that are happening underground that I already have a very, very large awareness of, we'll say. I've been shown these things many times from spirit. And there's also a lot of external information out there that validates what I'm shown from the lens of spirit and energy, things that are happening underground. We'll just refer to them as crimes against humanity. And this has literally been happening for a long time. Long times. Long in linear time. These energies have been doing these things behind closed doors, underground, in hidden places for several eons. Humanity has created these realities. Humanity has played in these realities. Much of humanity is attempting to break free from these realities. And much of humanity is completely unaware of these realities. So Spirit is saying to have compassion for all of humanity, because we all have different awarenesses of what's actually going on and playing out on the earth plane. And so these sort of volcanic eruptions, I feel, are also going to happen in the physical, perhaps in the form of fires, or we'll say even tornadoes, we'll say natural disasters. Some that they're showing me are legitimately nature responding to the energy in that area. But some of these incidents are man-made to look like nature. Regardless, they are all playing roles in, we'll say, bringing darkness to light, bringing things that are buried to the surface. Much of what the indigenous tribes also suffered. We are very aware of slavery. However, even the way that that has been taught to humans has been manipulated, and there's been a lot of truth held back, we'll say, in regards to even how we were taught about slavery in school and in history. The irony is that humanity has been enslaved as a whole for many eons. And it is in this, we'll say, age of Aquarius, or shifting of the earth plane, that many of us are choosing to break out of that enslavement. So the guides are really encouraging individuals to start asking themselves where they feel trapped, stuck, enslaved. Start looking at that. Start with self, because the external realities are all mirrors of what each of us is carrying individually. Everything that spirit shares is not to instill fear. Quite the opposite. It is to bring awareness from a loving perspective so that we can start to shift out of these low vibrational realities, these fear-based experiences that create disease and disconnect from self and others. Valor, again, valor is the courage, the bravery to be able to use our light, our internal, we'll say, flashlight. Use your heart as a flashlight and scan everything in your external. Allow yourself to scan it and see it, but most importantly, to feel it. That is that sentience. Feel what is happening. Feel what you are watching. How does it make you feel inside? Do you feel fearful? If you do, look at that. What is the fear? What is the rooted insecurity? If you feel euphoric or gratitude or love, allow yourself to anchor that energy into your body to become more familiar with that vibration in your body. They're literally showing me like a flashlight protruding out of everybody's chest, their center of their chest, that heart chakra space, right? And it's like, start scanning, scan the world around you, scan your environment from this, not from the eyes. Do not use the eyes to look, dear ones. The eyes can deceive. The eyes have very, we'll say, narrow vision, is how they're showing it to me. The eyes are literally only looking through a very, very tiny, tiny, tiny lens and missing the bigger picture. When we use the light from our heart to feel energies, to feel experiences, to discern what is happening, we are empowered with that wisdom and knowledge. When we use our eyes, we are often very disempowered because, again, the lens, the perspective is very narrow. It's small. It's missing the point. It's only seeing things from a very, very, very tunnel vision. Tunnel vision, again, is fear. Tunnel vision is, it's like they're literally showing me this super long tunnel, which is interesting because they're also showing me the tunnels underground. They're saying, do not get trapped in the tunnel. Do not allow the tunnel to swallow you. Look into the tunnel, right? Look into the tunnel. And I'm saying this is the third eye, right? This is not the physical eyes. This is using that intuitive knowing combined with that unconditional love and wisdom. Use this and this to look through the tunnels, to feel into the tunnels, but do not allow these tunnels to control you, to swallow you up, we'll say. There are many aspects of us that are already trapped in these tunnels. And this is why we have volcanoes erupting. This is why nature, and you see me doing nature, the guides have actually thanked Sam and I for doing this because they know why we're doing it. So when I say nature like that, it's human nature that is mimicking the nature, the natural flow of energy. There are humans, human nature that is manipulating our natural nature of the earth plane. So to be able to discern when that is happening, you must be able to tap into this and this, to feel into the energy of it, sentience, feel. Allow yourself to feel all of it. When we feel, we actually release energies. It is quite the opposite of what we have been brainwashed. We believe that if we don't allow ourselves to acknowledge our feelings or express our feelings, that it just goes away. And this is where it gets buried in the tunnels, under the surface. Free those energies in the tunnels, okay? Because it's all fear that's trapped in those tunnels. We all want to help free humanity. We have to free ourselves first, because there are aspects of ourselves that are trapped in those tunnels. It is time to free our inner child that has been made small, literally. There is going to be much over the next, I'm seeing 3. I can't discern 3 months, 3 years. They're not being specific. My guides usually are not specific when it comes to time frames, because energy is constantly shifting. And so I am not one of those psychics that gets a date and specific time frames of things, because the way my guides work with me is they work outside of space and time. And although they know that the human lives in the illusion of space and time, they do not give me messages because they also know the human attaches to those dates and times, and then often creates those realities, because when we attach to it, we end up creating it. So they're showing me 3, that there is going to be a lot that happens on the earth plane that is going to appear as like natural disasters, that are really just distractions, destruction. But also on an even higher perspective, they are wake-up calls. They are shaking things that are under the surface free. While there's going to be chaos and destruction as a result of these occurrences, there's also going to be an equal amount of freedom. I'm literally seeing it. Freedom to those being held underground. So those that are aware of the darkness that happens behind the curtain, behind closed doors, under the surface, under the ground, in the caves, to not lose hope, because these realities are coming to light every now moment of every day. There is more freedom now than ever. But with this freedom comes the polarity, the duality of the other side of the game, the need to entrap and enslave humans even more. So we'll say, natural disasters will get louder, but it is very important for light workers to know that it is literally bringing all those other experiences and situations to the surface. I'm literally seeing tens and thousands of children being freed. Didn't expect all of this to come through, but I am in Sedona. One thing I've learned about being up here in Sedona, and I'm up here a lot now, is as high vibrational and like loving as it is, right? I've never been somewhere where I feel the intensity of the duality as much as I do here. When I say the duality, I mean the light and the dark. Because when you think about it, when there is that much high vibration, that much love in one space, you can't not see or feel the darkness. That's what love does. Love invites us into seeing, feeling all of it, because love accepts all of it. That's the difference between the unconditional love of the spirit and the love of like the human, right? Humans still live in a very conditioned paradigm of love. We don't really know what unconditional love is yet. We're getting there. The human part of us, our soul, that's what our soul is unconditional love. The soul knows nothing other than unconditional love. That's why it actually comes into, that's the irony. Wow, brilliant. Thank you. That's why the soul actually comes into these avatars, because all the soul knows is unconditional love. So it comes into a body and into a reality that feels like everything but unconditional love, to then remember that that's what we are. It's a wild game that we signed up for. So yeah, what I've learned about being up here in Sedona is that it is, the energy is intense, because as whatever spiritual as it is, people throw that word around all the time. I don't even like using that word anymore because there's so much limitation to it. But as energy amping as Sedona is, and magical, and it's beautiful, right? It also really brings shadow to the surface. And I talk to a lot of people now that live here, because when I come up to Shine, all the girls that work here, I love talking to them and just hearing about their experiences like living in Sedona. And they all say the same thing. They're like, yeah, Sedona like doesn't let you run from your shit. Like your shit's going to keep coming at you like faster and louder, because you're actually in this very high vibration up here. So the energy is like moving faster. Everything feels like it's moving faster in a sense. And so that means when there's more light, then there's more shadow to be seen and felt. The more light we anchor in our body, the more light we walk around with, the more we actually see the darkness. And that's part of like this whole awakening evolutionary process, right? We as humans go through like stages of it. So that's what I feel like, when they reference the dark night of the soul, I don't feel like it's the dark night of the soul. I feel like it's the dark night of the ego. Because again, the soul is light. It's the ego that has been keeping us in the dark. So I refer to it as dark night of the ego. But I really feel like that's what that is when we're starting to like see all realities, and how a lot of the realities we thought were true were not. Like those are very hard realizations to come to as the human, even though our soul knew all of this before coming down to experience it. So it's just wild, because Sedona literally validates that for me. I'm shown, really, since I started my spiritual path, I'm shown a lot of darkness. Like it's because there's a lot of darkness on this earth plane. There's a ton of darkness that we have been distracted to not see. And then things that we have been told are bad are actually, quote unquote, the good things, are actually the empowering things for humanity. That's why, like, literally this matrix is so inverted and distorted. Like reality is so distorted here, because of how we've been programmed. Anybody that listens to my stuff knows I use that word all the time, but like, it's true. We've been super programmed. So just going back real quick to the three words that came in: indigenous, sentience, and valor. I really like, those are some powerful words, people. I didn't come up with them. Like, that those are not in my like everyday vocabulary. Like, I know the words, but those came through from spirit, because there's a lot of meaning and deeper meaning in each of those. So I encourage anybody that watches this, to tap into those three words, see what your guides say, see what you feel in your body when you start to feel into those words. What do those words mean to you? Don't like Google search it or Wikipedia it. I mean, you can, but I'd encourage you to go deep within first before doing that external research, because you have all your answers within you. Our indigenous roots are in us. That like it's like we're still constantly searching for them outside of us, and like they're literally imprinted into our physical DNA and our energy DNA. So let me just see if there's anything else. I feel like that's it. I feel like more came through than I anticipated, but how this rolls, what can I say? So yeah, as we continue to shift and evolve as a collective, just have compassion for yourself and other people, because we're all navigating this shit show the best that we absolutely can. And I mean, it's a shit show. I mean, that's me being honest. That's not from my guides, that's from me, but it's a shit show. My guides say it's a beautiful show, right? And it is, but it's a shit show to the human. I'm not gonna lie. So just, have compassion for yourself and be patient. Patience is such a virtue. And it's something that the human really has to practice. But then once it kind of just becomes part of who you are, it's a beautiful feeling to be patient. Let me tell you, I feel like I'm somebody that has always had a lot of patience, but even more so now than ever. And it's, again, something I've had to practice, but now it's just kind of become part of me. And patience is freedom to me, like to because patience also feels like living in the now. Like, if we're impatient, if you think about it, when you talk about living in the now and being present, if we're impatient, then we're waiting for something. We're waiting. So if we're waiting, then our focus is on the future. It's not in that very present now moment. So personally, for me, like, patience literally feels like an aspect of freedom, because I'm not sitting and waiting for something to happen or not to happen to dictate how I show up in my life, right? That's like taking my power back. So start practicing patience, because in practicing patience, you're also practicing presence. And now is a good time to start working on that, because these energy shifts are just going to keep happening. They're not going anywhere. This evolution process is not going anywhere. That evolution is just that. It's going to keep evolving. It's going to keep going. And the more light that we hold on this earth plane, the more darkness that we're going to have to see and feel through to be able to move through it, right? But do not lose hope, because things are coming to the surface. And again, it may not always be in the way that we, the human, wants it to or expects it to. But spirit knows that this game is playing out just the way this game is supposed to play out. So if we can sit back and learn to be the observer, but also that sentient feeler, that's how we shift through different energies. That's how we allow certain emotions to move through us instead of stunting them and stopping them in our body. The more we try to ignore how we feel or deny how we feel or suppress or numb out, the louder that energy gets in our body. And eventually it's going to have a voice, and it's usually going to have a voice that the human does not want to see or feel. So that's all I've got for you from beautiful Sedona, from my beautiful guides. And I hope it was helpful for anybody that listened. Until the next time, see you all on the other side. Love ya.